Should we feel bad? No. This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone. Let's get into it.
Turn up your volume because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone.
It is gone! It's Will Smith in Game 7!
The sickest LA Dodgers podcast.
Gibby, meet Freddie!
If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky.
From backs against the wall to back, the Dodgers cement their dynasty.
It's gonna be sick.
Oh, yeah. Coming through, starting 2026 with a brand new intro. Oh, how
Why?
about
Did
that?
something happen?
Well, a lot of things did happen. And in fact, we're going to talk about a lot of things on this episode because there's been a whole lot going on with the Dodgers over the last couple months. They do not rest. Despite winning back-to-back World Series titles, they are attacking the offseason head-on. We'll talk about Edwin Diaz. We haven't had a chance to talk about that. But we're going to start off today, and we're also going to talk about the Hall of Fame election because there was something very interesting that happened in the Hall of Fame induction for 2026. I thought nobody was going to get elected, but somebody did, and it kind of sucks. But first, we have to talk about a major addition, which led to a pretty significant subtraction. It sucks, but we have to talk about the DFA of Michael Ciani today because it is official. After going 4 for 17 for the Cardinals last year, Michael Ciani has been jettisoned from the 40-man roster. Kyle Tucker will be taking his place. So Kyle Tucker is the biggest name on the free agent market for this season, and he's a Dodger because once again, the Dodgers are dominating the offseason 3 years in a row when they've just been absolutely dominating the offseason. We're starting with Tucker because today he was officially introduced. The Dodgers announced the signing. 4 years, $240 million. Simple math, that is $60 million a year, which is a lot. That is incredible. Beau, what are your initial reactions to adding Kyle Tucker to this team?
Yeah, the $60 million is such a funny thing that people bring up because it's like, it's not my money. I don't care. They can pay him $80 million a year. I don't give a shit. Like, and the counter to that is that Ohtani is making $2 million a year. So just perceive it as Tucker is making $30 million and Ohtani's making $30 million. And there you go. Everything's fine. I stumbled across like a thing from 6 days ago saying that the Dodgers could sign 2 guys to fill their biggest offseason need. One was Kyle Tucker and the other was Michael Conforto. So thankfully they went through door number 1 and signed Kyle Tucker instead of bringing back Michael Conforto. But yeah, like I don't know, man. There's so much with this because it's obviously ruined baseball. Baseball's like just killed now. No one's going to watch. No one's going to care. It's all over. But yeah, like you said, like the Dodgers don't rest on their laurels and they do what it takes to improve their team, which I thought was what everybody wanted teams to do, but I guess not. I guess teams are supposed to just stand pat and never get better, unless they're the predetermined team of choice that gets to sign somebody. Or you're the Mets. I guess if the Mets had signed Kyle Tucker, then everybody would be cool with that. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, the Mets did counter after missing out on Kyle Tucker with Bo Bichette and then traded for Luis Robert. And those are solid moves. That don't get me wrong. They gave the money they would have given to Tucker to Bo Bichette instead because now Bo Bichette is getting 40-something million a year, which – again, when you look at the contracts in a vacuum of the average annual value, this is truly outside of Ohtani and Soto, and technically just Soto because Ohtani's not really getting that money on a yearly basis. It's just uncharted territory. We only see these numbers typically for the elite in this sport, but now we're seeing these just few years very high AAV sort of deals. And that's largely because Kyle Tucker, if he got a quote unquote normal contract this offseason, you're looking at he would have gotten $400 million for 10 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so by paying him half of that, a little more than half of what he would have gotten on the market, you're now just in essence, you're only paying for his prime years. It's a very smart business move because now you're not going to have a contract that looks like a total albatross for 3 or 4 years at the end of that player's deal. You're avoiding any sort of issues where now you've got a player who's 37, 38 and making 40 to 45 million a year, which again, in a few years from now, might be more of the norm because that's just how contracts and money in general is trending. But I love the fact that this is the sort of deal they were able to get from Tucker. We had talked about Kyle Tucker throughout the season and said this is kind of the ideal scenario. If they were going to add a player like Kyle Tucker, we're totally down with it as long as it's for just a few years. Throw a whole bunch of money at him. Who cares? As you mentioned, it's really Shohei Ohtani's money that's being divvied up amongst a bunch of other people. Friend of the show, Daniel Starkin, did you see what he tweeted a few days ago? He made a great point. I'm going to pull it up here. Not in my bookmarks. It is in my likes. He contextualized this by saying the Dodgers essentially turned Michael Conforto, $17 million, Clayton Kershaw, $16 million, Kirby Yates, $13 million, and Chris Taylor, $15 million into Kyle Tucker. that adds up to $61 million. So think about that the Dodgers really just took all the money that they had been paying. They traded Michael Conforto, a retiring Clayton Kershaw, should be retiring Kirby Yates, a should be retiring Chris Taylor, and then got a prime Kyle Tucker out of it.
Yeah.
When you look at it that way, suddenly $60 million feels like nothing for Tucker, but it's of course insane.
Yeah, no, it's a ton of money. But again, it's not my money. I don't give a shit. Like the one thing that I've really learned over the last couple of years is that fans do not like the concept of free agency. Like they don't think that guys should be free to choose where they sign. There should just be, what they believe is that there should be a rotating list of teams that are allowed to sign guys in the offseason. And if you're not one of those teams, you're not allowed to sign anybody. You're not allowed to do anything to make your team better. But like, I'm sorry, like Tucker said it today that the Dodgers have built an organization that he wants to go play for. Like, and I'm sorry, when the Dodgers sign somebody else next year, like that's going to be the same thing that they say then. And I'm sorry, but that article yesterday from Drelich that was like, oh, owners are going to 100% push for a salary cap. Guess the fuck what, dude? If the only person that signed a contract in free agency was Chris Taylor for $10 million, you know what owners would say? Oh, they're 100% going to push for a salary cap. They're going to do that. It doesn't matter who is signing what. That's what they want because it's a limit on earning potential for players. And that's why players are never going to agree to it. It's a pointless discussion because players won't agree to it and you're going to need a salary floor. And there are fucking 10 or 12 owners that will never agree to a salary floor. So it's such a stupid conversation. Instead of blaming the Dodgers for ruining baseball, why don't you just blame your owners for not doing what it takes to win games? Doing what it takes to get guys to come play for you. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. It's your fault for being losers. It's not the Dodgers' fault.
And this is the big conversation with this. Obviously, the overwhelming reaction from a lot of people has been, okay, the rich get richer. They just gave out this ridiculous contract. Nobody can compete. Let's just lock it out in 27 and bring in the salary cap. And to that point, listen, I don't want to completely dismiss it because again, $60 million a year for one player is something that's highly unfeasible for a lot of teams to do. But at the same time, it's because of the way the Dodgers have built their franchise for well over a decade now. Think about the fact that this is a team that within our lifetimes, not that far away, had an owner that was bankrupt. Yeah. and they were in a situation where the ownership group was falling apart and thereby the franchise was falling apart. And they put in the right people. They brought in Andrew Friedman. They had a great ownership group come in and invest heavily in this team. And this has been a result of continued investment from people who want to win and very smart people who want to win. Obviously, getting Shohei Ohtani then even just takes things to another gigantic level. And the way that Ohtani structured his contract not only makes it easier for the Dodgers to be doing this, but kind of forces them to. Because quite frankly, if the Dodgers are not spending money every offseason, they're doing a disservice to Shohei Ohtani. Because the entire point of his contract was to surround him with as much talent as possible so he can get as many championships as possible. And he's already 2 for 2.
That's insane. That's so insane.
Truly nuts. But to that point, too, where Colin Cowherd was talking about this today, and I thought he did a great job of talking about it, because he's saying, listen, if the Dodgers weren't nearly as good as they were, this wouldn't be a problem. There are so many billionaire owners out there who could easily pay guys like Kyle Tucker this money. There are a ton of owners. Think about what the Angels did, okay? Think about the fact that Shohei Ohtani was a member of the Angels. And for much of the current millennium, the Angels spent a lot more than the Dodgers did.
He took the same contract he got from the Dodgers to the Angels and said, I will sign this with you. And they chose not to. They made the choice. It's not the Dodgers' fault. It's just, it isn't.
Think about the gigantic contracts that have been handed out prior to Ohtani coming to the Dodgers. The Angels did more of them. They gave Albert Pujols all that money. They gave Josh Hamilton all that money. Gave Anthony Rendon all that money. Yeah. And they extended Mike Trout. And obviously Trout has been hurt, and that's made that more difficult on them. But that was the right thing to do in order to give them a chance to retain Ohtani. But their biggest problem is not because they didn't have money. It's because they were very dumb in the way they invested it. They put all the money into Albert Pujols for the second half of his career, where there was already concerns over his mobility because of his foot. They gave a whole bunch of money to Josh Hamilton, who battled injuries throughout his career. He also battled other issues throughout his career. And luckily he didn't have to deal with those when, he got through that and got better. But the injuries still came through when he was in Anaheim. And then they gave a whole bunch of money to Anthony Rendon as a last-ditch effort to try to bring in another superstar to unite with Trout, to pitch to Ohtani to, hey, stay here. And Anthony Rendon doesn't want to play baseball. And now he won't anymore. He actively hated his career, and he gets to make so much money and ride off into the sunset.
That was the biggest funny, though, problem. What if he signed somewhere else and just played good again? He just goes back to Washington. He's like, I never should have left.
Now that he's got his people in town there, he would be suddenly inspired.
That's right. That's right.
But that was the problem with the Angels. The point I'm making here is you have a franchise like that where their issue wasn't not being able to spend money. Clearly they're capable of spending money on big time contracts. It was the fact that they didn't know how to spend it. It was the fact that they were guys. Yes, and then they were awful at investing in research and development. They're just terrible investing in scouting. And this is sort of the problem that you're seeing across the league, where teams don't want to spend money because they look at examples like the Angels, where they gave a ton of money to big name players and it doesn't work out for them. And especially financially, it didn't work out for them. The point here is that as bring it back to what Cowherd was saying about the Dodgers, he's saying if the Dodgers had not been successful, you would not care. There were tons of Cubs fans complained about Kyle Tucker last year. It's not Kyle Tucker. You really think, is the line suddenly Kyle Tucker to you? No, it's the fact that they've been damn good at it. They're handsome and rich, and you can't be handsome and rich because then everyone hates you. And that's really the truth. Is that the Dodgers are so incredibly successful, and they now as they have been doing, they get to be the richest team in the sport, continue to invest in this team, and everybody is kind of throwing their hands up and being like, all right, we can't compete with this. And you can't, but it's not because they have more money. It's because they've been so incredibly smart with the way they've used their money for a decade plus now. This is a result of continued financial investment in both scouting, in research, and bringing in the right guys in the front office, in the dugout, on the field, being constantly competitive, and creating a really the finest professional sports program in America right now. Like I looking
it's
at all the
close.
major sports, yeah, they have the best organization out of every sport right now. And it's a result of continued success and continued investment. This isn't something that happened overnight because Mark Walter just happens to be rich. It helps that he's rich, but but this is like what they're doing. You can't do in MLB The Show because in franchise modes in MLB The Show, there is a de facto salary cap that's put on your teams. But the reality is that like they're able to do this because of everything they've done for years and years now. And sorry about it, but like we lived through the McCourt era days.
Yeah,
like,
no,
like we've gone through a lot as Dodger fans, and yeah, I don't feel bad because this was a long time in the making.
This whole discussion goes all over the place. I do want to say too, like with the salary cap stuff, like you're never getting it. Like just that's never going to happen. But like you have to get rid of service time manipulation. So you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. Owners love that. They're not gonna get rid of that. You have to get rid of these slavery contracts that guys like Acuna or Albies or like Roman Anthony signed, where they buy out their arbitration years for pennies on the dollar. They're not, and like you have to get rid of that, and owners don't want to get rid of that stuff.
No.
Like they just don't. And then everything else with like the complaining about it and all, it's inevitable they're going to win. I will tell you right now, January 21st, I think it's incredibly more likely than not that somebody else is hoisting the World Series trophy next year.
Yeah.
Because of all the sports, baseball as a sport is the great equalizer. When like the Dodgers were literally a ball getting stuck under the outfield wall away from not winning the World Series last year.
Yeah.
If that ball went anywhere else in the stadium, the Dodgers do not win the World Series. The Jays win the World Series. And then are we doing this with like the Blue Jays? If they go out and sign Dylan Cease and Kyle Tucker, like are we sitting here being like, oh, the Blue Jays are ruining baseball? Like, no, we're not. We're not doing that. Like it's just complaining to complain, man. Just complaining to complain.
One because there's I'm sorry if this is such a stream of consciousness because there's so much that goes into this. It's a very nuanced discussion in terms of like what this means for all of. I want to get back to Kyle Tucker himself and what it means for the Dodgers in a second, but this is the overwhelming conversation has been about the Dodgers ruining baseball, and sorry about it. Like it's
no, like to what you said, like you let the Astros cheat. Like you let the Astros cheat the Dodgers out of a World Series title.
Yeah.
If that had I think honestly, if that had been punished the way it should have been, the Dodgers probably are not doing what they're doing now. They win in 2020 and they're content. They're like, all right, you know what? Fine. We won in 2020. We got our justice for what happened to us in 2017. We'll try to sign Ohtani, but we're not going to go crazy with it. But because Major League Baseball and fans let the Astros get away with cheating, they're just going to turbo fuck you mode. Like, it's your fault.
The idea of a salary cap being instituted in baseball, I think brings up a ton of questions. And I think to your point, saying that it's not going to happen, I think you're right because I think it's going to be too complicated. This report from The Athletic is insisting that owners now 100% want it. I'm finding that hard to believe because let's have a thought experiment here, because with a salary cap comes a salary floor. And that's the big thing. The big issue, as we've talked about many times in baseball, is the fact that there are a lot of teams that simply do not spend money. For example, the Miami Marlins prior to 2025 received $70 million from revenue sharing alone. Revenue sharing is one of the ways in which there is a de facto salary cap in Major League Baseball, where this is something that should encourage parity, right? Where the teams that make the most money put money into a revenue sharing pot, and the teams that are on the lower end of revenue get money out of that pot. So the Marlins received $70 million in 2025 from revenue, or excuse me, I might not have the exact number of what they got from revenue sharing, but I know that they got roughly $70 million from revenue sharing that they did not use on their payroll. And that's the problem. What are they doing then with that $70 million? They got even more from revenue sharing, but
Putting it in their
when
pocket.
you look at just their payroll alone in comparison to what they receive from revenue sharing, you're like, okay, hold on. There's another 70 million you could be investing in your team that you're just getting from Major League Baseball. This isn't your TV contract. This isn't your advertising revenue. This is the Dodgers TV contract that is going to you in part, and you're not doing anything with it. If we were to institute a salary cap, and I found a tweet from Chris Halik. I'm sorry, Chris, but he's a Steelers beat writer. but he does a thought experiment here about what a soft cap system in Major League Baseball would look like if it mirrored the format that the NBA uses. So if it was something like that
everybody loves, by the way.
Yes.
Everybody loves the NBA system.
Yes. Which suddenly then Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker and Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are all oddly sponsoring a tree company. Anyway, obvious ways to circumvent the salary cap aside, if the salary cap was at $180.5 million, then the salary floor would have been $162.4 million, putting the luxury tax threshold at $219.2 million. The point is that if this were to mirror the NBA's cap system, you're looking at a salary floor of $162 million. 15 teams would be below that number, half of the league.
Yeah.
And so in order to enforce a salary cap, you have to have a salary floor. It does not work one way without the other. Nope. And so in order for owners to accept the salary floor, half of the league would have to say, yes, we are going to spend more money, in many cases, considerably more money.
Yeah.
A team like the Marlins is $100 million below that. You're telling me that suddenly the Marlins owner has a change of heart and is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually going to spend another $100 million.
Yeah, it's
just so the Dodgers don't get another MVP candidate.
No, it's just it's easy to say. It's just easy to say. It's easy to go on your show or go on your Twitter and just be like, oh my God, Major League Baseball has to have a salary cap. But nobody understands the machinations behind it ever. Mm-hmm. Like they never do. God love him. Our friend Brian Noe is convinced that Major League Baseball needs a salary cap. The Cardinals, the team that he's a fan of, have not spent money in free agency.
No.
And every single time that the cap is brought up, that is what you say, is that has to be a floor. And these teams do not want to spend money. They're not there to spend money. They're there to make money for these owners that are, a billion times richer than any of us will ever be in our lifetime. But like I said, fans don't want free agency. They just don't. Yeah. And the players union is the strongest union in sports. So it doesn't matter. You're not going to have these guys that have been accustomed to making what the market says their value is suddenly be told, okay, so actually, you know how the guy before you signed for $60 million a year with the Dodgers, you can only sign for $5 million. Like that's what you have to sign for. Good luck. That will never happen. Never. Because there's too many guys on a baseball roster to really, you're going to have hockey salary numbers. And these guys are just not going to go for that.
Yeah.
And just think about what do you do with the guys that already have signed these contracts? Does Juan Soto just have his money taken down? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I've thought that maybe there will be a limit to deferred spending, but even that, these owners love that too.
Right.
It's I can sign this guy, but I might not have to pay it out. Okay, no problem. A
Yeah.
problem for the next guy for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
And even if they do have to pay it out, it's less in real day value at that point.
yeah,
So it's like a stock that is going to improve. Like
yeah,
it's so um yeah, that's the other big question I have, and I haven't been able to find an answer to that question. And maybe somebody has done reporting on it. I have no idea. But what would happen to a team like the Dodgers? What would happen to
yeah.
the Dodgers if there's a salary cap in force that's even 250 million? They're already well
It's
over that. What do you do? Do you then have to enforce a hold on adding to your roster until you get below that number, which would take years? Like
yeah. It's
that's
it's a
that doesn't make
complete
any sense.
non-starter. It's a
Yes.
complete non-starter. It's
And
cool. It's cool to say and get clicks and get views, and you can be an MLB owner and see like, look, I'm fighting for the little guy. But at the end of the day, when they go into those negotiations in the back room, like it's just going to be one side saying no, you're not getting that, and then being like, oh, all right, for sure, because they don't want to
right.
miss out on revenue.
No.
Like, what are we doing here, man? Can we please just talk about baseball? And like,
Yeah.
if the Dodgers win the World Series, there's gonna be a lockout? If the Dodgers lose the World Series, there's not gonna be a lockout? Or like what?
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? Like,
I
it's just
if
people are so giddy for owners to win. Like, they're so
Yes.
fucking excited for the idea of the owners taking the players to the back room and be like, nah, we're done with this. You guys can't earn as much money as you guys have been earning. We're taking power back from you guys.
Right.
And that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just not. I hate to break it to you. Zero chance.
I to entertain the opposing side for a second, in all fairness, if I were a fan of another team, yeah, I would hate the Dodgers. Like, and you should, because I get it. I would be immensely jealous, but I would never admit that it's jealousy. And I think that that's a big thing. I think it's just very fans are you would God the
Well, they're like
fact that
low
we get to
information
watch this
voters.
team. What was that?
Like they're like low information voters or whatever, right? Like they are told to get mad at the Dodgers. They don't think about what it is. And like it's just resentment, like in general. I genuinely do believe that if this was the Mets or the Yankees like they did, 20 years ago, I don't
Mhm.
think there would be nearly the outcry there is that
Right.
we have for the Dodgers. Like I
Yeah.
truly don't. Um
Yeah,
it's just
the
it's
Yankees
stupid.
literally did this in
Yeah, like
the early 2000s.
the
Like
Yankees,
this is
like
what they
that's their
did. This
whole
was A-Rod,
thing. Like,
Teixeira, like this. Yeah,
yeah,
Giambi, like it was
like,
all
it's
they cleaned up for years and on free agency.
yeah.
Like that's what they did.
And it was just their
Um,
thing. Like everybody just
yeah,
accepted it. Like that was what they
yeah,
did. And people wanted to beat them. They didn't want to
yes,
go cry and get the rules changed.
right. What we get to live through right now as Dodger fans is a dream. This is what we get
Yeah.
to experience as a Dodger fan. This is what you want your team to be. As a sports fan, regardless of who that team is, you dream that you get to live through a time where your team is so damn dominant that the rest of the league is saying we need to change the rules in order to stop them from winning. Which, again, to your point, it's still baseball. The Dodgers were still very close to losing the World Series. They were very close to not even making the World Series in both of the last years. They
Hmm.
like this is anything can happen. And it's just the fact that they've won. If they didn't win this past year, I don't know if we're even having this conversation.
No.
People and the fact is it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But if the Dodgers don't win these last couple of years, but yet then operate the exact same way, we just have to hear everybody being like, "Oh, first round exit." That's what we had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
hear for
yeah.
years from everyone.
Yeah.
That was the constant
I
refrain. Now
I
they
have
can't
yet to
do
see
that, so they're like, "You broke baseball. This is unfair."
yeah, I've yet to see the classic, 140 win Dodgers going up against the 80 win Rockies and the power of friendship meme. I haven't seen that one yet. Hopefully hopefully I can get one of those in before the season starts because those are my favorite.
All right, we are a half hour into this podcast. Um, I want to really quickly wrap up this part of the discussion before we talk about Tucker and Diaz and more on field stuff. Um, a point that I've thought about too is we as Dodger fans are in fact paying the price in order for the Dodgers to be this team right now.
Mhm.
And that is because a large reason of why they have so much money to work with is because they have a very lucrative TV deal with Spectrum. It is still very difficult to watch Dodger games if you do not have Spectrum cable. When the Dodgers first signed that deal with Spectrum, you had to find ways to circumvent.
People were actually pissed.
Yes,
People were
it was
pissed about
very
it.
complicated
it
because
sucks.
not everybody, not only, listen, I'm not trying to bash Spectrum, but not the greatest service. If you've noticed any hiccups in the presentation of this podcast, yeah, I have Spectrum Internet, so that's something to throw out there. But also, in the early days of this deal, for the first couple of years, it was Spectrum or nothing. They did not have a deal with DirecTV. They were shut out of every other cable provider. And people like my family, my parents live in an area where you could not get Spectrum cable if you wanted to, because it depends on hookups. It depends on setups in that area. Verizon Fios went in and installed fiber optics there years ago and kind of, took over that region. Now, at this point, there are more ways. Yes, the Dodgers are on DirecTV now. And not until last year were you able to actually buy a specific streaming service in order to actually watch the Dodgers. It's now $30 a month. You can get Sportsnet LA Plus or whatever it's called. But prior to that, what I did for years is I had to, and this was, by the way, a method that was written about in the LA Times as a way for people to watch the Dodgers. You had to purchase an unlocator, which was an IP blocker.
VPN. Yep.
Yeah, VPN. And then buy the year-long subscription to MLB TV. It costs like $180 when you combine the two things, and that's how you watch the Dodgers.
Or you got it for free through T-Mobile.
Yeah. Well done. The way that I've watched the Dodgers for the last 2 years, I had to have two phones in order to watch the Dodgers for the last 2 years. And that's because Spectrum had a deal where I have Spectrum Internet, but we have YouTube TV. Which a lot of people have YouTube TV. There's no way to watch the Dodgers on YouTube TV. I can't even watch the Lakers on YouTube TV. Like, that's still an issue. But for the last 2 years, Spectrum had a deal where if you had Spectrum Internet and mobile, then you would get free access to the Dodgers through MLB TV. And so that's how I had to do it. That's the thing. And my point here is, this is, again, why the Dodgers need to constantly invest in their team in the way they do. Prior to Ohtani, they had to constantly invest in the team because they needed to make their product something that was worth such an exclusive rights package. Also, they needed to justify having so much money from that exclusive rights package by using that money from their TV contract to invest in the team constantly. So us as Dodger fans are actively paying the price for our team to be this good. That is something that we don't get to just have whatever cable we want and watch the Dodgers. I understand that, TV packages are much different now and people cord cut. And also now there's a lot of issues with like Bally and FanDuel and whatever, a lot of the local networks for a lot of teams is, and there's still some things up in the air. But typically, if you're in a local market of your team, you get that team regardless of what cable package you have. We don't, as the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So in a month's time, I'm going to be activating that $30 a month for Spectrum Sportsnet Plus, and I will get to watch the Dodgers that way. I deactivated that second phone. Again, my wife does not have to worry. I never used it. I promise, Audrey. I never used it. It was strictly to have access to the Dodgers.
I just steal my mom's DirecTV login.
That's
all I do.
What my parents do is they use my grandma's Spectrum login because there's ways to they have it logged in to their computer and then they cast it to their TV. Again, this is we shouldn't have to live this way in 2026, but this is the price that we pay as Dodger fans in order for us to have an elite team. So
remember Vince Scully's last year when they were like, you still couldn't watch it on any other network. So it was like, we're gonna do the last 20 games on fucking UPC or whatever it is, channel 13.
Yeah.
God, dude.
All right. So with the money that I am giving, Spectrum $30 a month for, they have used that to get Kyle Tucker. And now let's finally talk about what this means for the Dodgers offensively and as a team. They literally have replaced Michael Conforto with Kyle Tucker. That's straight up what they have done. Conforto, who was so bad last year, he just was not on the postseason roster at all. Thank God for Kike Hernandez being a postseason beast, because he was able to fill a gigantic hole in the outfield on offense throughout the postseason. But now we have Kyle Tucker. And great thing, too, is Dave did say at the press conference today, Kyle Tucker will be playing right field, which means Teoscar Hernandez will be playing left field, which means that should be better. It's not like his defense will magically improve, but it cannot be worse. He is much more suited for left field at this point in his career, and Tucker provides great defense in right, great arm in right field. Tucker is a 5-tool player. His numbers last season don't exactly jump off the page, but he was still solid, and he gives you 20-20 to 30-30 upside. He hit like 260-ish last year, but he can easily hit in the 280 range and get on base a good amount, slug a good amount. He's a great all-around player.
He's a 5-win player. Like, Conforto was worth Conforto was worth negative 0.7. So they replaced. That's the easiest thing. It's just, we talked about it before they signed him. I think it was like honestly 2 days before they signed him. Like, I think we both agreed that Bichette was more interesting to sign, but Tucker was the easiest person to sign, to just sign him. He has a place to go, and that's what it is. Like, it's just plug and play, really. Like, that's how they viewed it too, because that's what they're doing. They already know he's going to hit second or third, according to Dave, so that'll be nice. I wonder how Mookie will take that, but we'll see.
I want to throw out my idea for the lineup, because I've seen a lot of people put out lineup constructions, and I actually think mine is different, and I think it's the best one.
Ohtani at 9 is weird, but we'll start there.
Ohtani at 9. Andy Ibanez 1. So Ohtani leading off, Will Smith batting second, Kyle Tucker batting third, Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup, Freddie Freeman batting fifth, Mookie batting sixth, Max Muncy seventh, Andy Pages eighth, Tommy Edman ninth.
Yeah.
Now, what this does is it perfectly alternates that lefty-righty bat throughout the lineup. You would use this against right-handers. You can use it against left-handers as well. I know you'd probably get. Is Kike officially on the team yet? I don't think he is.
No,
right?
But come on, they're doing the same thing they did last year.
Yeah, so
it's gonna wait till spring training.
You'll get him in
60-man opens, and
we say Andy Ibanez is semi-facetiously, but Andy Ibanez is now on the Dodgers, and I think he will actually get a good amount of playing time against lefties. You probably see him play some third for Muncy against lefties, and that's fun. Me should help.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's nice. That's yes, the big thing here is you were moving Mookie down to sixth in the lineup, and I think that's really because if we're staggering the bats lefty righty like this, you kind of just Mookie's not a cleanup hitter, and I'm sure that Mookie would get on base more than Teoscar Hernandez this season, but you can't deny Teo's power. It's more suited as a cleanup hitter, and we can't ignore the way that Mookie had extensive periods of time last season where he struggled offensively. I think we're at the point in Mookie's career where we need to be realistic and honest and say, okay, maybe sixth is more suited for you. You would hit between Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy, which is still like he's still going to see a whole lot to hit.
It's
it's a
It's just
byproduct of how talented the team is.
Yeah, that's all it is. He was Mookie. I really didn't realize this. He was still a 5-win player last year too.
Yeah,
Like he was still really good.
Yeah,
Like postseason batting aside, like he was still really good last year. But yeah, it's literally just because guys got to hit somewhere, man. Like
Yeah.
it's not a slight to him
yeah,
at all. Like he would hit sixth if the Dodgers signed fucking young Albert Pujols and I don't know Barry Bonds or something like that. Like he would still have to hit sixth. Like
right.
that's how it would go, man.
I understand that the conventional wisdom would put Ohtani and Tucker at 1 and 2, but I really like the idea of creating such a gigantic problem for opposing managers by staggering the bats, which is what they've done the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's really why Tucker fits very nicely into this lineup, because it allows them to do that perfectly. Tommy Edman is the prototypical 9-hitter on this team, and then having even Max Muncy hitting 7th is nuts. Like it's top to bottom the best lineup in baseball, and it just got even better. Where we also improved is in the back end of the bullpen.
That's right.
For
Tanner
the
Scott, baby.
The second straight season, the Dodgers have signed who is believed to be the best closing pitcher in baseball, the best closer available on the market. So Edwin Diaz is now a Dodger, and they gave him a deal where I think it is the highest average for a reliever, but that
was so long ago,
that high above what like Josh Hader is getting. It is a great addition, and it does a lot of things. One, it gives you a guy that you're going to have gigantic confidence in the back end of that bullpen. I mean, we know Mets fans who still were nervous about Edwin Diaz over the last couple of years, but his numbers are undeniable. His performance is undeniable.
Which, everybody's nervous about their relief pitching.
Yes, nobody likes their closer.
Nobody likes their closer.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Yankees of 25 years ago with Mariano Rivera, like nobody likes their closer.
Yes. Yeah. So
that's
Diaz
the worst cope.
Yeah.
It's just the worst cope. Like there was a Mets fan, I won't name them, but told me like, "Oh, I hope you're ready to watch Diaz come in and put 2 on and you're going to be shaking." And I'm like, "Oh, wow. You mean like what I've watched for the last 3 years with this bullpen? Like I just watched the entire last season with Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. I think I'll be fine. Thank you."
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It is funny how the Mets offseason has been them just doing a lesser version of everything the Dodgers have done. Granted, they signed Devin Williams before the Dodgers signed Edwin Diaz, but also they did try to re-sign Edwin Diaz, and they were only like $4 million off from his number.
Yeah. Which I think if you ask Mets fan prior to that, they would be like, "Why did we not sign Diaz?"
Yeah.
Like that. I don't want to bag on the Mets. I don't care about the Mets.
Sure.
Whatever. But like
just
Mets fans, like, I'm sorry, you guys, you'll not convince me that you guys are excited about the offseason you had when you lost Diaz and Alonso. You just won't. You're not going to convince me. Those were the two guys that those were like Mets fans guys.
Right.
And you replace them with Bichette and Semien and like Devin Williams, who nobody on the other side of the city liked last year. So yeah, good job. I do think it's funny too. Like, it's so funny that these negotiations for free agents and stuff always come down to the same 3 teams.
Yeah.
It is always the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Blue Jays. I don't know what that means. But it's interesting to see it like happen over and over and over again.
Well, I guess when the salary floor comes in, then finally the Pirates will get involved. The Pirates paid Ryan O'Hearn, by the way. That's the first free agent contract they've given out in like 30 years.
Do you think that like when a salary cap comes into if a salary cap happens somehow, the guys wouldn't just take less to sign with the Dodgers anyway?
Yeah.
What do you think that solves? It's so stupid. It's just so overwhelmingly stupid. Drives me up a wall.
So yes, Diaz a huge addition. What it does too, it takes a whole lot of pressure off of Tanner Scott coming into next season, which I think is great. It will really give him an opportunity to re-find what worked so well for him. I'm very confident that he can give not necessarily exactly what he did a couple years ago, but at least get close to it. By feeling like he can now settle in and not have to face the heart of the order every time, not have to take on the ninth inning every time, allow him to really get back to what he did best. I'm excited. I actually think Tanner Scott is going to have a very strong season.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, let's close this out by talking about the Hall of Fame inductions. Because 3 people are going into the Baseball Hall of Fame this year. Jeff Kent, former Dodger, former Survivor Philippines contestant, is going into the Hall of Fame. And he was voted in by the Veterans Committee. I thought he would be the only person to go in, but no, there's actually 2 people who are going in. One is another former Dodger, Andruw Jones. And then there's Carlos Beltran. Now, we will talk about Carlos Beltran here in a second, because I want to first do something fun before we start yelling. Let's revisit Andruw Jones's Dodger career. He was, when he came over to the Dodgers, like, he had a tremendous run in Atlanta, a great career. When you think about maybe if you name like the 5 best defensive outfielders of our lifetime, Andruw is maybe number 1. Like he was that good. And which brings the argument of like Torrey Hunter should probably get some more votes. Then listen, I wouldn't have put any of these guys in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not going to be mad that Andruw Jones is going in. But if we're so heavily weighing defense in some of these elections, because that's how it helps Scott Rowland get in. Torrey Hunter also belongs to that conversation of elite outfielders of our time in terms of what they could do defensively. But Andruw Jones came over and signed a 2-year, $36 million deal with the Dodgers. And we figured, all right, this will be fun. You know, obviously, he's a little past his prime, a little heavier than he once was, but put him in the middle of this lineup and let's see what he can do. Beau, let's play a game. Who hit more home runs as a Dodger? Andruw Jones or fellow Hall of Famer Fred McGriff?
Oh, the Crime Dog, for sure.
The Crime Dog did. He hit 13. He did not get to that 500th home run. You can ask, I think it's Ben Maller tells a great story about how when the Dodgers had signed the Crime Dog and he saw all the stuff that they had in the back tucked away for when he would hit his 500th home run as a Dodger. Everyone was so excited. He played 86 games. He got hurt. He finished his career with like 493, and that's it. He never got to 500. How about Robin Ventura? You remember Robin Ventura?
Ooh, the White Sox manager?
Yes.
I'm gonna say he did.
He did. Yes, he hit 10 home runs. That is more than what Andruw Jones hit as a Dodger.
I noticed that these are getting smaller.
How about Don Drysdale? Do you think Don Drysdale hit more home runs? The all-time great pitcher, Don Drysdale, did he hit more home runs than Andruw Jones as a Dodger?
I'm gonna assume a yes.
He had 29 home runs in his career, which is an astonishing number. Okay. How about Dazzy Vance, another Hall of Fame pitcher?
Dazzy
Vance hit more home runs as a Dodger than Andruw Jones did.
Oh, this guy looks like he just invented slurs. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna guess he did.
Dazzy Vance hit 6 home runs in his Dodger career. That is more than Andruw Jones hit as a Dodger.
This guy died in Homosassa Springs, Florida. That's tough.
How about Zach Greinke? Did Zach Greinke hit more home runs as a Dodger than
Zach hit like 5 or 6? How did Zach hit as a Dodger? Did they tie?
They tied. This is a trick question because Andruw Jones hit 3 home runs as a Dodger.
Yeah.
2 years, $36 million. He hit 3 home runs. His final in 75 games, he hit 156, 256, 249, 3 home runs, 14 RBIs, 14 RBIs in 75 games for Andruw Jones after signing a 2-year, $36 million contract. Zach Greinke also hit 3 home runs in his time with the Dodgers. Hey, just for good measure, one more Hall of Famer, Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson, at 44 years old, did he hit more home runs than Andruw Jones as a Dodger?
I hope so. Did he hit less?
Unfortunately, he only hit 2. So Andruw Jones wins
damn.
this one. That's it. That's where the line is. But yes. Hey, you know what? He won't wear the Dodger hat, and that's fine.
Ricky
that's
Henderson
okay.
played forever.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
that's wild, man.
Carlos Beltran is also going into the Hall of Fame. And the reason why we take issue with this, of course, is because not only Carlos Beltran was a part of that 2017 Astros team, he's kind of credited as being one of the most vocal pieces of the sign stealing scandal.
Basically invented it. Like, they credit him as
was the architect.
Like, he lost his Mets job because of his role in doing that. Like,
yes,
he was probably the only person that was actually punished for what the Astros did.
Yes. When the Athletic did a report on the sign stealing scandal, Brian McCann has a quote in there. Brian McCann, who was a veteran catcher, one of the leaders on that team, just
big unwritten rules
general.
guy.
When Brian McCann approached Carlos Beltran about calling off the scheme, Beltran refused. Quote, he disregarded it and steamrolled everybody. Where do you go if you're a young, impressionable player with the Astros and this guy says, we're doing this? What do you do? So, yeah, basically, the entire sign stealing scandal could be heavily attributed to Carlos Beltran. Beltran was a strong player. He had a great career. He hit over 400 home runs and 300 something stolen bases, one of like 4 or 5 guys to do that. Nothing about his career says he's a surefire Hall of Famer that you absolutely have to put him in. He was a borderline Hall of Famer, and after 4 years, the voters decided to put him in. But as you said, he's really the only guy who got punished as a player, because he was still a player in 2017. That's why he didn't get a suspension, because none of the players got a suspension. Yeah. But when this report came out, he had just been hired as the Mets manager, and I think he resigned. But it was one of those, like,
same way Mike Tomlin resigned.
Right. So where's the line then? Like this is the thing with Hall of Fame voters. We've been going through this for 10, 15 years, where we're constantly having this discussion about performance enhancing drugs and whether or not guys should get in if they're suspected of using performance enhancing drugs, and how incredibly inconsistent that's been. Because sure, Barry Bonds, there's a lot of different documentation that would indicate that he was taking HGH and stuff like that. However, one of the greatest to ever play the game, Roger Clemens, yes, admitted to his steroid use, still one of the greatest pitchers of all time. But then you have guys like Jeff Bagwell and Ivan Rodriguez, and as much as it pains to say, Mike Piazza or David Ortiz. These are all guys who have gotten in and were absolutely linked to PED use. There was plenty of suspicion around these guys. So where exactly are we drawing the line in terms of what sort of cheating is fine for the Hall of Fame and what isn't? Because what Carlos Beltran and the 2017 Astros did, arguably worse for baseball, because they won the World Series on the backs of an organized cheating scandal. And he is very much attributed to being one of the main people perpetrating that entire scandal. So we're just now deciding to overlook it. Like, I that's ridiculous.
That's pretty wild.
It makes no sense.
There was someone that I listened to yesterday that really blew me away. And I lost a lot of respect for them, really, honestly, because their excuse was like, well, the Astros got caught, but a lot of teams were doing it. Maybe not to the extent that the Astros were, but a lot of teams were doing it, which A means that the Astros were cheating, and B, name names then. Tell me who else was doing it. Because I have a feeling that even if other teams were doing it, it was not to the extent that the Astros are doing it, to the point where any other team doing it was probably just bending the rules a little bit, which everybody does. But for the Astros to break the rules so carelessly and really with a giant middle finger to everybody else, like, you cannot tell me that Altuve is not telling his teammates to not rip off his jersey because he has a buzzer on his body. You can't tell me that. I'm sorry. That's what he's doing. That is 100% what he's doing. So yeah, it's bullshit. Just let Bonds in, man. Just all these guys that you're keeping out of the Hall of Fame because they're using steroids, because they may have used steroids, just put them in, because it doesn't matter. You already said it doesn't matter 10 years ago when you didn't do anything to the Astros for what they did. But I just hate that excuse of like, well, other teams may have been doing it. Well, then tell me who. Name names, man. Because it's chicken shit otherwise. It's just absolute horse shit. So I don't, whatever. Just put them all in. It's done. It's over with. You've destroyed the credibility of the Hall of Fame anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we should start seeing fringe guys get in there now, because like, if you're gonna put guys like Scott Rowland in the Hall of Fame, and then on top of it be like, yeah, a cheater can go in too, then I want to see. I don't want to hear how exclusive the Baseball Hall of Fame is. Just put guys in there.
Yeah. It's just been a weird level of inconsistency. Take like David Ortiz, for example, had a positive test early in his career, had an actual positive test. He did not get suspended because he was able to get out of it, but he was on a list of people that tested positive for banned substances. And I don't know, if you look at Ortiz's career arc, like, it's incredibly obvious, but whatever. Everybody likes Big Papi, so you put him in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I have no issue with David Ortiz being in the Hall of Fame. I just think that you need to apply that same sort of logic to everyone else, as you're saying. Yeah. I don't think it's ridiculous to pick and choose which times you're going to hold things against people. And with the PED stuff, they've been very wishy-washy on some guys. But then apparently, leading the charge on a sign stealing scandal actually is something that doesn't withhold you from Hall of Fame election. Because again, it's not like Beltran was a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. No. This is different. If he put up Barry Bonds type numbers, if Albert Pujols was the one organizing the sign stealing scandal, then I get it. Like, you're like, well, he has this one thing, but how are we not going to put Albert Pujols in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah,
I understand that. This is to me, part of this too is I wonder how much these guys are looking ahead. For example, like Jose Altuve, now you're saying there's nothing that's going to hold back.
Yeah, he's a lock.
Yeah, and so I wonder if some guys are like, well, if I'm going to end up putting Altuve in, I might as well vote for Beltran.
Yeah, it's so. The one thing I do want to go back to what we were talking about before about the tiers. I have appreciated watching anybody with an association to the Astros try to be like, yeah, what the Dodgers are doing is so much worse for baseball than steroids or sign stealing or other things. Like, come on, man. You guys they're so guilty, and they can't help but prove how guilty they are every single time. Like, I love that line of even 2020 is not real. Clearly you guys know that 2017 doesn't count, because I've never once felt insecure about the Dodgers winning in 2020.
Yeah, not
one time. But you guys sure do love to tell everybody how you didn't actually cheat, and you guys are the real title winners in 2021 and blah blah blah, whatever it was, 2017. The Mets are getting Freddie Peralta.
Oh wow, okay. That was a name that we were going to talk about at some point. It was interesting that today Andrew Friedman mentioned that the Dodgers were not trying to add to the starting rotation at all. So yeah, well, hey, listen, that's a great gift for them. I'm not I'm not gonna bash it. Like, they probably paid a decent price, but this is, again, you know what? Hey, good on them. If they feel like they really can compete, then you've got to go all out to try to compete with the Dodgers. So they're going all out, and that's good.
Yeah,
good for them.
They're going from 85 to 88 wins. Good for them.
Damn. All right. Let's wrap it up because we've spoken so much. We had a lot to get to. It's been a while. So you gotta get it all. Monty is still on the podcast. Listen, don't I understand. I also probably didn't say our names off the top. I'm Ryan Berchinger. He's Beau Benson. Monty Bolaños will be with us another time. It's a busy time. It's a busy time for a lot of us at Fox Sports Radio. So it's been we got the Super Bowl coming up. Things are moving. Things are going around. We got a new show and all that. And it's a lot of things going on. One last note I want to mention here, because we just want to. We're lucky to be a part of this Dodger podcast community, and if you've spent any time watching us or listening to us, it's immensely appreciated. Again, we don't deserve it. We don't deserve any support, so we appreciate anyone who takes their time to listen to anything we have to say. There's a lot of great Dodger podcasts out there. One of which is the Incline Dodgers podcast, which is hosted by Kevin Kline, who I have known since elementary school, which is still a wild connection. It is hosted by Kevin Kline and Jake Reiner. Jake has gone through a terrible tragedy in his family, has lost both of his parents. I just wanted to extend our thoughts, our love, our prayers, our support to Jake and his sister for what they're going through. Again, we want to support everyone in this podcast community. Jake is a great part of it, and we hope that he'll be able to get back on the mic sometime soon. But sending a ton of love to him and his sister. All right, we'll wrap it up there, Beau. Until next time, we've been we're deep in this. We topped an hour today.
I know.
My throat is killing me. This is too much. I'm falling apart. All right, so until next time, everyone, this is the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone. Again, you spend any time with us at all, we really appreciate you. My name's Ryan Berchinger. He is Beau Benson. You can check us out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We love and appreciate you all. Domo arigato, everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, The Dodger Zone, on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.